In custody, the man protests his innocence and names Alan's killer as Jonathan Bowen.
There's a major breakthrough.
Hey babe, where's our J-Lo?
Bowen's moved
Yo, what come look who I am? No, I'm Darth Vader.
I am not follow.
Serious head and threatened the police officer with a hammer.
It's not uncommon for very serious violent offenders to have a history of offending. The majority of adolescent offenders go on to stop, but it's crucial for us to understand why those that do continue do so. There's a convincing body of research to indicate that early and adverse childhood experiences can play an important role in moral and emotional development, and this in turn can be linked to violence.
Police track down Bowen with friends of Rex. He's arrested on suspicion of murder, but in custody, he makes no comment. Police turn their attention to the man who pointed the finger at him, because he can't count completely.
This was Christmas Eve, and it obviously not just taking place everywhere. Jonathan Bowen and on Christmas Eve. Now, Jonathan
Serious violent offenders might habitually find themselves in aggressive or violent altercations or arguments. Research evidence suggests that this could be due to a high sensitivity to provocation. For example, most people will not react to violence if someone pushes past them. But those with a high sensitivity to provocation are more likely to respond with aggression or violence.
The man tells police that when Bowen saw Alan Breeze, he ran up and began attacking him. He was too scared to intervene, fearing Bowen would attack him as well. Police give a statement to Bowen, but again he offers no comment.
after the two murders, we did have further calls to identify Jonathan Bowen as the other person on the species. We've got further information that stated that an object linked to the murder of the man which could be found at a location that is linked to Jonathan Bowen. So we got that location. We executed a search warrant.
Police are relying on forensics to link the two suspects.
Within this property, a pickaxe handle was found. Just to try and
The pickaxe handle is fast-tracked to the
light source can be linked to the artistic pickaxe, you've got two ends. To link it to the offender, we need to do DNA on the handler and then look at the victim on the other end. So effectively one weapon you can link 2 or 3 people depending on how many people have handled that weapon.
The blood gives a full DNA profile with matches for Alan Greaves. A second DNA profile is also found. It belongs to Jonathan Bowen.
You know, in terms of impact, it was the gold. It's probably the best way of saying it. You've got to do the right one. You need a fair bit.
But the pathology and forensic testing of Alan's flat suggests a second murder weapon is outstanding, and that Bowen didn't act alone.
You look at the evidence that we've got in the round, and we have the two witnesses. And I think part of the crucial bit about the witnesses is got the two offenders running away together, laughing about what had happened.
This could suggest that the offenders attacked the victim for entertainment or even pleasure. It suggests that the attackers were enjoying themselves in the act.
You then got the multiple CCTV that were recovered, and the two are there walking together. They're not separate on any of the CCTV, including the last piece of CCTV. I took the decision that we would charge both the murder of Alan Graves.
So, in Sheffield, the Fortnite Z.
I think everybody who's had to look on murder, that it really is important just. So I said to God, can you give me the grace to forgive them? And can I put them into your hands so that I don't actually justify people destroying my life as well as Alan's? So I went to the magistrate's court and I saw them I did two young men walk into the court. One of them was crying. Their mum was just in front of them. And it was very, very charged with emotion. And as I looked at them, I thought, thank you, God. I don't have to have a mind or a heart for the nature of these two men. And I don't have to look at them as I've given this to you. It's still heartbreaking. I don't mean that this feeling, and of course of it, because they're taking the personality the most in the world.
As Bowen takes the stand, he surprises all and pleads guilty to Alan's murder. He is sentenced to life with a minimum of 25 years.
Good.
I was really proud of the investigation team. They worked tirelessly. The pace that we worked at and the attention to detail. All I've got is total admiration for everybody who worked on the investigation.
To be able to get good forensic evidence that's compelling enough to ensure that an offender pleads guilty really is a great sense of achievement and does bring justice to the family.
The man who lives to be with Bowen on the night of the murder pleads not guilty. The date is set for the trial.
It's really, really hard going in court. Listening to everything, trying to understand it all. But I wanted to be there.
The prosecution and Biden both are responsible for Alan's murder. They present a witness statement that two men
That's funny.
When you meet a family and you see the devastation and the heart-wrenching circumstances, and that's when I find it difficult.
Matt and the liaison officers was really, really caring. And in fact, there was one or two times when I saw a few tears in their eyes, so much with the feeling of depth of the pain I was going through.
Forensics have found evidence Alan was struck with at least two weapons, one made of metal and one of wood. Alan's blood and Bowen's DNA have been found in the hospital. No metal weapons or any trace evidence to the man standing trial have been recovered.
They were only able to ever find one murder weapon, which is a bit of a blow because if you don't have a murder weapon, you can't conclusively link it to that scene.
The defendant takes the stand. He recounts his statement to the jury.
Yeah.
Followed by here.
Nothing, how's you?
He shouted, "Stop, stop," and Bowen ran up to Alan and pulled out a pickaxe handle he had hidden in his trousers. He says, "All I could hear was a big bang. I tried to move. I wasn't really functional." Feeling hungry.
It's always important. Sometimes it's quite difficult not to get emotionally involved. Why on earth would somebody murder such a lovely, nice, innocent man? It's incredibly sad that someone like this is murdered on Christmas Eve.
The defendant says, "I was wondering if I
Anger on its own is generally not sufficient to fuel serious violence, but when offenders don't feel any sort of emotional pull to avoid violence, in combination with the anger, well, that's when violence is more likely to occur. This could be displaced aggression, which tends to occur in the original offending person, who is either inaccessible or in a powerful position, leading to fear of retaliation or punishment. So it could be displaced onto an innocent target, often as a powerful or a vulnerable target.
The defendant was found not guilty, but innocent to manslaughter. He's sentenced to 9 years.
It came as no surprise that it was manslaughter. He was pleading not guilty because he hadn't done anything. He's doing nothing. Yeah, I didn't find it that way. What do you believe yourself? Don't think about it. About somebody standing and watching, somebody being real clear and saying that you didn't do anything. Because what I'm doing is that he stood down and watched. And then he went on and started with him. He didn't want to police that. He didn't say anything, say anything. He was legally investigating laws on his own and telling what he was thinking. So for me, I'm in the possibly.
So, a disappointment. So, having said that, I was very pleased that the offenders were behind bars. We were able to look more into that.
How's your day
Too much. You know,
My day's going good. How's your day going?
Who the offenders were. Jonathan both never spoke. We did get a lot of detail about what had happened from start to finish on that night, the background prior to that. And I think that there's so many cases where families don't get that.
It's
Looking
going
back on it, if I don't
Well, that's good.
hatred and bitterness towards them, I think I
XXX.
would have lived
Where are you from?
poorly after that.
England, yourself.
Basically, that's
Hey, Shannon, baby.
and for me, that's the end of the story.
She doesn't want to ruin her life, the life of her family. She continues to do exceptional work in the community. She's very loving, caring, mother, grandmother, and I have the utmost admiration for her.
I was saying, looking at one of the most difficult and challenging parts. I've lost the person who loved me the most.
I'm from Toronto.
I've lost the person who loved me in every physical
Oh, what's it like over there?
looking down to especially when walking, it's been used the most. And yeah, I'm feeling
Where the fuck I got me?
What do I have?
Just hold on. Tell us you're going to go see the largest snakes.
I've always been so curious about the moment that happened in the ring between you and Brock Lesnar. He gives you some receipts. What's the actual story of what happens here?
I got a little overzealous with him and he had to check me. And it's just at the end of the day, it's two big, dominant dudes out there going at it and things happen. This ain't ballet.
What? It's not come through yet. Fortnite. Frequently play Fortnite. EAFC. Play a bit of Fall Guys here and there. A bit of Crash Bandicoot. It varies really.
That's great. Do you stream daily?
When I have time, I do. I try to, yes, but some days I get a bit busy and struggle to get a stream on, but I try to at least get an hour or two in a day.
We were very concerned.
I upload content daily to YouTube and
could end up in the same way.
I try to be on TikTok Live.
I used to stream and play games on Twitch with another account but quit.
I do it as a hobby. Bit of passage of time.
I stopped streaming because I'm now focused on creating graphic art.
Oh yeah.
Can I show the stuff that I've done?
Yeah, of course.
It remains to be found in a bag by two boys on the Great Union Canal.
Senior crime scene manager John Cochran from the Met Serious Crimes Unit races to the scene.
As soon as I get down here, I try to define what my crime scene is. The bag is actually on the side of the canal. There's 4 bricks that have been taken out of the bag, and a black bin liner containing flesh that has been taken out of the rucksack that was there.
What's your Discord username?
The scene was somewhat chaotic because
I'll have to get there in a second because I can't remember my name on it, to be honest with you. But I will get it up once I finish this game.
They had to try and make it as sterile as possible so that when the forensic team came in, no forensic opportunities were lost.
Forensic experts gather on site.
I need a pathologist, potential pathologist, I need a photographer, most definitely, to photograph everything we did. The scene tents were put on the north side of the canal. This is
I'll screenshot that in the chat on my phone.
where we did the examination of the remains.
My Discord
One of the first
username.
things we're trying to do
I'll
is
add you on
establish
there.
if this is
No
human
problem.
or non-human. A forensic anthropologist is relying on their skills of human anatomy and often animal anatomy, so we're able very quickly to distinguish between human and non-human material. It's based on the physical features, the coloration, and the shapes that we're seeing. But it's obvious to a trained forensic anthropologist that this is human.
I could see flesh, I could see it was female, and I could see there was some pelvic parts of the visual side. Once we are able to say that they were human remains, at that point it became a murder investigation. The pathologist took a tissue sample that was dispatched to Metropolitan Forensic Laboratory in quick time so that DNA analysis can be undertaken.
Forensic scientists begin their harvest of the outside of the bag.
At a very early stage, CSI would come and take photographs, and then they would swap the zips.
Sarah Purple is a leading forensic trainer.
Because the bag's been in the canal, there may well be very, very little forensic evidence that could be obtained from the outside.
Presents a challenge.
It still wouldn't mean that it wouldn't be swapped the DNA on the zipper part of the zip, but fibre evidence, fingerprint evidence would be negligible on this bag. As a CSI finding only parts of a human, you're thinking, well, where's the rest of the body?
Finding this first bag is the beginning of a puzzle. Because where is everything else? Is it hidden? Is it still with the killer? Is it locally in the canal? Usually there would be more body parts.
The decision was made at an early stage that they were going to bring divers in.
Just because a bag that's been weighted down to dropped in one location, it doesn't say that the rest of the body is in the same location. They could have been done.
Yeah, of course, as I said, once I'm
The canal is undergoing
not in the middle of my game,
which helps police divers.
I'll do that happily.
It struck me that the routing is very clear. The county block, which is the next line down, there were the case block gates, so there was no point moving. All the mud had settled down.
Divers begin their search.
I've got to think what other items have been thrown into that canal. There may be old bikes, bottles, mobile phones that might have been dropped off boats. There's so much other debris that might be within a canal. It can take quite a long time to try and locate any items.
CSIs search for further leads.
It's really important to think about access points. If someone's dumped a body in the bag, how have they got the body there? In my mind, I'd be thinking, well, they're not going to be carrying loads of bags with heavy body parts down the street, so where's the data access? What's the closest point you can get a vehicle to that scene? And I would be looking there for time track marks, for footprints, etc.
The crime scene is a very precious commodity because you've only got one chance of getting it right.
On the site, the SRs examine the ballast.
The bags were weighed down with bricks inside.
There's soil on bricks that may link back to a location. That will be another avenue that will be considered as a type of forensic evidence. Sometimes you have to expand your arsenal of forensic types and look for the more unusual types. Forensic ecology samples, so soil, pollen, that kind of thing.
A day on, and the search of the canal is nearing completion. Police divers have discovered more minerals for cigarettes.
You're finding the bags at the end of the canal.
CSIs confirm the bags contain.
The torso had been cut into two. Both arms had been cut into two. And there were the legs. So there were 10 parts in total. I'm not just at one part of the part. And then it's this and stuff.
On site, we make the assumption that all of these values are wellness individual, especially if they're not folks, so we don't have two body bodies or something like that. It's easier to go with the simplest explanation.
What was missing was the head, hands and feet.
These are forensically important parts of a human that are easily identifiable. That tends to indicate that the offender realised that facial recognition of fingerprints might occur. So I would suggest that the offender in this case might well be very forensically aware.
In my opinion, whoever did this, disposing of the head, hands and feet elsewhere, suggests to me they didn't want this person identified.
The body was actually dismembered quite neatly in a tidy fashion. Could be someone who knows their way around a saw, perhaps even a butcher or a carpenter.
Someone's clearly mentally unstable to be able to cut a human body up.
The domestic homicide or homicide control is the single biggest predictor. It's a very good lifestyle. But the only thing that's really good is the that's fine. It's the thing that's the bad evidence. All it was sisters. She was it's really noise. All of them moved down to North London 3 years earlier.
Unfortunately for Paula, Dahlia and I suppose we give on. She developed a drug habit.
The family's physical description of Paula bears a resemblance to the human remains.
We can build a picture. We can build a picture from age, stature, the ethnicity, hair colour, discover the cesarean scar, and that's not a picture. The information that the scientists were taking from the SIO, it's all exclusive, you know,
The legal forensic appears that the remains held previously belong to Paula. The DNA won't be able to track a match to your sibling, but it will be very similar. They compare the DNA from the remains with the sample from Paula's sister.
that positively proved that it was Paula Phil's.
Police inform Paula's family.
It's a difficult conversation to have, explaining to a bereaved family the circumstances surrounding the demise of the death of a family member.
For a loved one to be murdered in any circumstance is extremely harrowing. Most families, I would imagine, never ever recover. But to actually be informed that not only is your sister, daughter, been murdered, but then the body has been dismembered is particularly horrific. I wouldn't even imagine how they would ever come to terms with it.
Police are concerned this brutal killer struck again. This is a highly space. Dismembering is something that most people would find absolutely impossible. And they are taking on it at the point. Now that's not an easy thing to do, it's a messy thing to do. And it would be something that most of us would do with power. Something like that's not really going to suffer with guilt, shame.
The family informed the officers that Paula was having a relationship with somebody called Joe Scouts. On one occasion, they actually met Joe, and he explained to them that he was a carpenter, and was also from the crew. They were effectively giving spiritual. That was one of the things that attracted her to him, and him to her.
But the relationship was tempestuous. Paula thinks she's in a safe relationship with this really nice guy. And really quickly, things completely change and he becomes violent and abusive.
Police were very, very keen to identify who this individual was, where he was, and exactly what his relationship was with Paula. Joe Scouse lived at a particular address in Finsbury Park, North 4. The police investigation focused on the address Paula had been frequenting quite regularly. She would knock on his window, he would invite her in. It was a multi-occupancy address with about 9 or 10 bedsits.
He's nowhere to be seen. Police question all other residents.
There was of the view that the relationship between Paula and Joe was somewhat tense. There was one particular individual who police felt was quite evasive when questioned, and they felt that he actually knew more than he was letting on.
They discover he's a close acquaintance of Joe Scouse.
Police focused their attention on him.
During questioning, he let slip a secret.
Joe Scouse was in fact John Sweeney. That was his real identity.
Why would you have an alias if you weren't intending on avoiding arrest and you hadn't done anything wrong? We do a criminal record check on him, and we realise that he's got a long criminal history of violence, serious violence.
John Sweeney was actually wanted for the attempted murder of another girlfriend back in 1994. She was basically on the run. That's the reason why he was using the alias. Once the SIO you identify someone's on the run for an attempted murder, your primary aim is to arrest him as soon as possible. What you don't want is for him to be on the run and attack something or something.
With a warrant to search his bedsit, police return to Sweeney's address in Finsbury Park. Once inside, they're confronted with a chilling scene.
There's some artwork which is very unusual and quite morbid. Images of people with feet missing. Very sadistic, weird images.
There were some quite skillfully made items of furniture, as well of a sexual nature. He was a very talented carpenter.
Officers in this artwork were of the view that this was not really a normal individual that were doing it.
The weird art that was on the walls and furniture is important, but at that stage it tends to show his character. Would it form any direct link with the murder from the fields? Well, I wasn't sure.
In the property, there was a pillowcase that appeared to have some blood staining on it. So the pillowcase was sent away for further testing to see if they could ascertain whose blood that was. CSIs recover soil samples from the back garden.
We were trying to prove that the bricks that were weighing down the beds may have come from
You baby.
the process. We employed a forensic sedimentologist to sample the bricks and take various forensic samples from the garden to try to prove a link between the two.
The DNA results of the blood-stained pillowcase are in.
The blood turned out to be the blood from Paula Fields.
It's exciting because it is the firm forensic link between the dress that he lived at the time we found the parts in the canal.
Unfortunately, she was a regular frequenter to the address, and the blood could have got there quite innocently, not necessarily an indication that she'd come to harm.
The killer could say you're in a relationship. The blood you found is not relevant, it's from something innocuous. It gives doubt. And it may allow the killer to put some distance between his normal relationship activities and the types of people.
These take the soil samples will provide conclusive evidence.
Motherfucker got me again.
Canal side with Sweeney's address.
But the multi-occupancy address gives Sweeney a get-out again. He can say someone else took the bricks.
From the SIO's perspective, finding that that soil was from an address that Sweeney was living at was important but not necessarily significant. It was supportive evidence.
You feel initially frustrated, but personally, it spurs you on. You've got to find the evidence that's actually going to convict him.
Police need a new lead.
Seems like I'm locked up this guy, doesn't it?
He's going to be killer.
Huh?
He typically do in life, and what I can only describe it a two-foot felling axe.
He, in public, attacked her brutally. She managed to grab her cycle and put it over herself, which stopped some of the blows, but she was still severely injured.
He managed to inflict terrible, life-threatening wound, stab wound to the chest, punch and lung, while one or both of her arms were snapped, the bones and her tendons. I mean, the injuries were horrific.
Next door neighbour comes to the rescue.
He hit Sweeney right across the back with the baseball bat, which caused him to sort of wheel around and stop attacking Delia, which I think undoubtedly saved her life. Sweeney ran off into the night.
She was very, very lucky. If he'd got her into the house, there's not a doubt in my mind that she would be dead. The illness was frightening, but intensive care.
Extremely long rehabilitation, and now Sweeney was on the run. He was a man capable of extreme violence. It was felt that if he wasn't arrested quickly, then someone else could be attacked or even he could die as a result. Extensively throughout Europe, Sweeney was quite resourceful. He's not what I call a clever man, but he's sly and he's devious. And he hated police. He'd never go near anyone in authority.
But 7 years on from the attempted murder, police discover he's back in London. They act quickly.
Just before he got into his place of work, which was a building site in Shoe Lane, which ironically is very close to Park Lane, he was arrested in the street. He'd also been clever enough to evade, though I'd imagine he'd be getting a shock of his life when he was sort of wrestled to the ground. Sweeney struggled, but he was restrained and a knife was retrieved from his waistband.
The team arrested Sweeney for the attempted murder of Delia Barber back in 1994. He's also arrested for the suspicious death of Paula Field.
His tool chest was searched. There was a loaded pistol.
Anybody that went to the far at work is not my opinion of son of mine.
Sweeney is taken to Kentish Town Police Station.
Sweeney tried a confident interviews. He was dismissive of them and on most of the questions that he was asking him their comment. He admits he was knowing Paula Fields and had had a relationship with her. But that's about as far as it went. He denied anything to do with her murder or the disposal of her body parts.
Police have witnesses to the attempted murder of Delia Bormer, but need more evidence that Sweeney killed Paula. We have just 24 hours before the custody clock is up. A warrant is secured to search his new address.
We found a loaded sawed-off shotgun, numerous cartridges and numerous pieces of ammunition of various calibers, and these were proved to Martin.
A bag was found in Sweeney's flat that contained tools. He's a carpenter, so tools would be quite legitimate for him to have, but within the bag there were rubber sheets, duct tape, and an item to use as a garage. It's not normal for someone to have those items in the bag. It almost looks like killer's kit. Sweeney is charged and convicted of firearms offences and the attempted murder of Delia Bormer. But the Crown Prosecution Service decides there's not enough evidence to convict him of killing Paula.
I'd rather the CPS say, well, you haven't got sufficient evidence, and forcing us to go and find it, than proceeding with insufficient evidence, and him being found not guilty in court. That would be devastating, particularly for the families. Sweeney was given a minimum term of 10 years in prison.
He is due for release in 2011, but police are determined to keep him behind bars and convict him of the murder of Paula Fields. Then, Delia Bormer comes forward with new information.
During his relationship with Delia Bormer, he actually confessed to her that he'd actually killed a girlfriend by the name of Melissa, who was from the US. And he came across her while they were staying in Amsterdam with two German men, and that he shot them all.
There are some rules that seem to be in every controlling relationship, and the one that I'm thinking of specifically is you must not make me jealous.
She said he had stayed with the bodies for a few days and then dismembered them and then disposed of them in a canal. But usually the circumstances, it is exactly something similar to Paula Fields. That's a new phenomenon.
Police need to prove that Melissa's story is true, and if Sweeney is telling a version of Paula's murder, or has killed before. Sweeney went for women who were quite isolated, who were living far away from home, so there was nobody there looking after them. Sweeney has told Delia he was living with Melissa in Amsterdam when he killed her.
Police is sending a text message to the Amsterdam police. Could they please check their records and look for any dismembered bodies that may have turned up in Amsterdam during a particular time period?
But police in Amsterdam have no record of a dismembered body being found.
Motherfucker.
Because we was in the middle of another, it was not easy for us to progress some of the inquiries that we would have liked to have done to try and trace them.
However hard, they won't give up on getting justice for Paula Fields and any other of Sweeney's victims. 8 years into Sweeney's sentence, the police get a call.
On the other end was a Dutch policeman who introduced himself as a member of the quite newly formed cold case investigation team from Rotterdam Police. They've been tasked with looking at unsolved cases from Rotterdam. The first case he looked at was of an unidentified and dismembered female found in the Westerschelde Canal in May 1990.
Rotterdam and Amsterdam are separate police jurisdictions.
The way that the body had been deposited was very similar to that of Paula. She was trussed up in a large oval and thrown into a waterway.
Head and hands were missing. It's a very similar MO on modus operandi to how Paula Fields was found. So a similar MO means that potentially it's the same offender that's committed the two crimes.
The body was actually folded in 48 hours after death. The body will become very soft, very palatable, easy to move around. And at that point, the killer could have folded the body in half.
I thought to myself, what are the chances of two women both ending up murdered, dismembered, placed in bags in a canal? And just what you're gonna.
The case now becomes the first joint murder investigation between the Netherlands and the UK.
Our clock's ticking. John Sweeney could be released in 2011. We were concerned that were he ever to be released, he again relationship with another woman who could end up in the same way.
The team need to identify the body found in the Westerschelde Canal.
Nautical fish review, they review all other samples and find out if there's further with it from the death. But what happened was they could put a body, she was initially found in 1890.
The blood sample has been stored in the Netherlands Forensic Institute in The Hague. With advances
In the where?
technology,
some of the DNA techniques that were used 20 years ago have actually been superseded quite a lot.
The Forensic Institute were able to now create a full DNA profile. This profile was loaded onto the newly activated missing person's DNA database, which was also cross-matched with the crime scene database in Rotterdam. And lo and behold, this DNA profile belonged to Melissa Houston.
Melissa was from Ohio in the US. She was a model for about 2 years, and then she decided to come to New York to start a fashion designer photographer within the modeling industry.
The police database reveals that Melissa has been reported missing by her family.
Normally she would ring her mother and wish her birthday greetings or Christmas, and they hadn't seen her for some time.
Hi, Lord. Melissa. Calling to wish you happy birthday. Have a good time, and I barely done. Goodbye, I love you.
This was the last we ever heard from Melissa. Though the violent blood is a match, because of its age, CSIs need additional forensic confirmation of Melissa's identity.
One doesn't keep very well over time.
Police make a difficult decision to exhume her body and recover more DNA.
When the body is exhumed, it's normally done really early in the morning, at first light. This is to maximise the daylight hours, to provide respect for the victim, and also to reduce the likelihood of any media attention.
When the body was exhumed, she would likely be completely skeletonized.
Forensics recover DNA from the bones.
DNA is taken from the femur because the femur is quite a large, robust bone that preserves very well. So it's likely that there will still be DNA intact within it. This is especially true because there's no skull. If there was a skull, we may have preferentially taken from the teeth.
The DNA taken from the femur is developed and compared to the DNA from the original blood samples. Again, it's a hit.
They were able to match the DNA sample to the victim, Melissa.
But the team still need to find a link between Sweeney and Melissa Halstead.
It then meant that the previous investigation into Paula Fields could be resurrected, and us tried to see whether or not we could prove that John Sweeney was not only the person who killed Paula Fields, but more than likely the person who killed Melissa Halstead.
The team quickly established that Melissa and Sweeney were in a relationship.
Melissa met Sweeney at a shoot. They were in what could have been described as a loving relationship, but very quickly that turned violent, and there were significant episodes of assault on Melissa over a 2.5-year period. She was subject to attacks, ABHs. She was hit over the head with a hammer.
There's more distinct similarities to the turbulent relationship he'd had with Dean.
Serial killers are quite often known to they're very saturated. There have been escalation points in their life, they have built up to the first murder, and probably really enjoyed it. And wanted to do it again. And it can become almost a compulsion with them. They can become very obsessive about it. The team can now argue Sweeney
Who will take their place? So, I have a bunch of categories here. I'm going to ask you. They're all numbers. Okay. The answers are all numbers. Answer all numbers. So, you guys will have to decide as a team the number. And if you... Oh, just so you get it right. Okay. All right. I like this. Yeah. Simple. Easy. No, really close. Okay. The first category we have is sports. Oh, that's my favourite. There's only 3 questions per category. That's my favourite category. So, how many points did Arsenal enter the 2022-2023 season with? That's most recent, isn't it? Don't worry, they won't all be football. I did pretty well. They won. Arsenal came second. They were doing very well.
There's some numbers coming to my mind right now.
So I write like, my pen has got no ink in it. Thank you. So, my hands are both full.
There's two numbers. There's +2.
I got one of them. I think it works. It's too high. What number is in your brain? Oh, wow. Right. What a number. Yeah. Alright, let's see the answers. How are you feeling good? 88. 89. Oh! The correct answer was 84.
Just watching the stream, baby. Right, have you gone to the bedroom?
It's the end of the season. Okay. What city had it? Like the head spots. Liverpool got 97 and came second. How many balls, or two, are on a snooker table, including white? Yeah, including the white. Yeah. This is the answer. You read? Here, Red. I've got that. Oh, I don't know. I just counted in my head like onto that. Okay, I feel like no. Hang on. I just realised what game I'm playing. You're playing? Yeah. Let me know. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, okay. I can't even think of the difference between the two games. Yeah, so the triangle itself is large.
Police suspect John Sweeney is the killer of Paula Hills and Melissa Halstead. There is more forensic evidence to charge him with.
He said include the white, didn't he? It's 22. What? Yeah, I have 4 reds, and then you have 3 here. One there, one there. Oh, how many there is? This 4, 3, 2, 1, isn't it? Yeah, so that's. This is 5 for It's 5 for
I did not know what that question was then.
And then there's 3.
When you went in, you form the relationship.
That's been done for tonight, guys. Back on tomorrow.
Specialist uses
Be a bit of a longer stream. Peace.